week, giving tourists exactly what they came to see. The area has been dubbed the home to horses from heaven, and that seems to be a pretty good description.
And finally, it's raining. Popcorn? Yes, that's what's happening in the gorilla habitat at Chicago's Brookfield Zoo. The zoo installed special feeders with times that release various food items at random times. Sometimes that food is popcorn. Officials say it encourages the primates to forage, not to mention providing entertainment for both lowland gorillas and horses.
And that's this week's edition of the News Hounds Now Update.
Isn't that beautiful, those horses?
That is heavenly.
It's the way to end the week. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Charlotte, for helping out.
You're welcome.
News 3 at 5 starts right now.
Right now at 5, a Sauk County board member is facing child pornography charges. Why he is still serving on the county board.
And Governor Evers laid out his first budget proposal last night. We'll break down some of his top priorities for the state.
Plus, a terminally ill first grader from Wisconsin is asking for dogs. We'll tell you how you can help.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 5.
And thanks for staying with News 3. A longtime Sauk County Board Supervisor is being tentatively charged with 5 counts of possessing child pornography. There's now a warrant out for his arrest.
The Baraboo News Republic originally reached out to Bill Wenzel, but he said he didn't know he was being charged and had no further comment. We want to warn you, there are very graphic and disturbing details in this story that are not suitable for children. Jamie Perez joins us now with details of those charges. Jamie?
Well, for each count of child pornography listed, Wenzel could face a fine of up to $100,000 and or 25 years in prison. Again, the following descriptions are disturbing and graphic. We again want to warn you about the details in this story. They are very disturbing. Investigators conducted a search of Wenzel's home and found videos of child pornography linked to his IP address. One of those videos is described as a girl performing a sex act on a dog, and another of a man instructing a dog to perform sexual acts on a girl. The complaint also says the girls in the videos are between 11 and 16 years old, described as prepubescent. Peter Vedro has served alongside Wenzel for the past 5 years on the board. Despite the charges and the arrest warrants, he says Wenzel still has the right to serve as a county supervisor, regardless of how he or anyone else feels about the allegations.
Do these charges surprise you?
Absolutely. I think they surprise everyone. As I've noted, such behavior is totally unacceptable, deplorable, and can never be condoned.
Despite his sentiments you just heard, Vedro says it would be up to Wenzel to determine if he finds it ethically acceptable to continue serving. If he is convicted of a crime, Wenzel would lose his position. The Sauk Prairie police chief contacted Wenzel, who says he is in New Orleans on vacation, but there is a warrant out for his arrest.
Jamie, thank you.
The police investigation into an alleged incident at a Madison middle school is now finished. Madison police spokesperson Joel Despain said the department handed that investigation over to the Dane County District Attorney's Office for review. The Madison School District placed the acting principal at Whitehorse on leave after a student said he pushed her and tore out 3 of her hair braids.
A man who was on trial for the death of his girlfriend was found not guilty last night. Patrick Kramer was arrested in 2014 for the death of Tracy Radizek, whose body was found in the basement of her Wyocena home in 2013. Investigators said Kramer reported that she had taken her own life, but further investigation showed the hanging appeared to be a staged crime scene and that she was placed there after her death. Court records show a jury in Columbia County Court determined Kramer was not guilty of first-degree intentional homicide, domestic abuse. He was released from jail last night.
All right, now we turn to weather, and let's get a look at your first alert forecast. Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti joining us from the weather patio. Gary?
Eric, the sun tried to hang on here in Madison through at least the middle part of the afternoon, but now the skies have clouded up and there is some snow out to the west of us. In fact, we start out by taking a look at visible cloud track. You can see that sunshine giving way to thicker clouds moving in from Iowa and Minnesota, and a lot of that is in the form of some light snow right now, pushing from much of Minnesota into western Wisconsin. A little bit lesser amounts of snow down toward the south and west, but it looks like it's about ready to push through the Madison area. As we check out the advisories right now, there's a winter weather advisory in effect until midnight for Juneau and Adams counties, as well as areas to the north and west into La Crosse. That area could see 2 to 3 inches of snow. Much of the rest of southern Wisconsin looking at perhaps around an inch or less of snow, especially down toward the Illinois state line. Low temperatures this morning because of the cloud cover only dropped into the middle teens, but notice to the north where skies cleared out, temperatures were below zero. High temperatures today generally were in the upper 20s to around 30, so a little bit of improvement over yesterday. Current temperatures are still in the upper 20s to around 30 degrees. But our morning temperatures will be in the middle teens as the clouds start to break up late tonight after the snow comes to an end. Tomorrow will be a partly sunny but cold day with a high temperature of 25. That's your News 3 Now First Alert forecast.
Gary, thank you. A Rock County teenager faces 2 felony charges after admitting to putting a cattle sedative in his stepfather's drinks last year. Court records say 16-year-old Tyler Ravenhorst Malone was charged Thursday with placing foreign objects in edibles. The criminal complaint says his stepfather found used syringes that he thought Ravenhorst Malone was using to put the cattle sedative in his drinks. Liquid saved from several of those drinks, and the syringes he found tested positive for that cattle sedative. Ravenhorst Malone admitted to putting the drug in the drinks because he thought it was funny, but said he never wanted to hurt him.
A 37-year-old Beloit woman has been arrested in connection with a vehicle that was stolen last week while a 10-year-old child with special needs was inside. Police said a car was running when it was stolen from Johnson Street last month. Officers found the vehicle and the child about 40 minutes later. Dawn Martinez was arrested yesterday.
Lawmakers will spend the next several months rewriting Governor Evers' proposed budget. The governor talked about his proposal during a stop in Madison today. In it, he proposed a host of ideas that Republicans have long opposed, including tax increases and a Medicaid expansion. While speaking with leaders of the Wisconsin State AFL-CIO, Governor Evers talked about repealing right-to-work laws.
We're going to begin to undo the harm that has been done to organized labor. As you know, we've put in the budget a repeal to right to work, which obviously is anything but.
Meanwhile, Republican legislative leaders call the budget a, quote, liberal wish list with no chances of passing as proposed.
The state DOT secretary says a gas tax increase is a realistic way to finding money to fix roads. Incoming Secretary Craig Thompson is defending the Evers plan that would increase the gas tax by 8 cents a gallon. Thompson says the tax would cost drivers an average of $3 a month and that a solution for roads can't wait any longer.
You know, this isn't brand new at all. This has been looked at. There's been a lot of commissions, and we've fallen behind our neighbors in the Midwest in our conditions here pretty substantially. So I think this is a very pragmatic, bold but pragmatic proposal to get us moving forward.
Thompson says neighboring states like Iowa, Indiana, and Michigan all have 10-cent gas taxes, while Minnesota is proposing a 20-cent increase. A key part of Governor Evers' plan includes a rollback of the state's minimum markup law on fuel.
But what exactly is the minimum markup law, and how does it impact gas prices? Political reporter Jessica Arp has tonight's reality check.
The measure is technically known as the Wisconsin Unfair Sales Act, but over the years it's become known as the minimum markup law.
What does it do? Passed in 1939, its aim was to stop businesses from artificially selling items below cost, known as a loss leader, in order to get customers in the door and drive a competitor out of business. So the law prohibits selling anything below the cost the seller paid, calling it, quote, a form of deceptive advertising.
When it comes to motor vehicle fuel, there's an additional layer. The law defines the cost of gas or diesel to also include the cost of doing business for that seller. That includes things like taxes, inspection, and transportation fees for that fuel.
What kind of cost does that add? Well, here's a breakdown. Today, the current terminal or wholesale price for gas is $1.79. Added to that price is 18.4 cents for federal taxes, 30.9 cents for the state gas tax, which is what Evers also wants to raise by 8 cents. Those cost of doing business fees, then, are 2 cents for inspection fees, 2.5 cents for transportation. That means a minimum price of $2.32 to get gas. The average retail price in Madison for gas today is $2.34. There can also be an additional 9% markup markup from there, but retailers are allowed to meet competition, meaning if someone marks gas down, say near a state line, everyone in the state could match price to mark down, meaning gas could cost less than the minimum markup price.
The key question that will be discussed in the coming months is whether repealing this measure could hurt retailers. The state's Petroleum Marketers Association says this will eliminate local competition with big box stores, while the state's free market advocates argue this solely inflates the cost of goods for consumers. I'm Jessica Arp with this News 3 Now Reality Check.
Madison Mayor Paul Soglin is reacting to the governor's budget as well, saying it brings fairness to the state.
He says the city of Madison would benefit from many of the items proposed. Amanda Quintana is here now with how much more money the city could see with this.
Yes, well, Mayor Soglin says the budget is a great start. It doesn't include everything he wanted to see, but if passed, he says Madison will see some positive changes. He says he's happy the Madison Metropolitan School District will see more funding, but the benefit he called more robust is money from the general transportation aid to help city roads.
The increased general transportation aid that's forecasted is 10% in 2020. And Madison is estimated to receive about $10.2 million in 2019. We can only guess, but at this point we would think that would be a $1 million increase for 2020.
He also said Madison would expect to see a $1.7 million increase in 2020 because of general transit aids, which is money that goes specifically towards transit options like buses or trolleys. Soglin says they'd use extra money to replace city buses. Now, the League of Wisconsin Municipalities also thanking Evers for his support, saying from levy limits that allow local governments to stay in step with the local economy to plugging potholes and plugging dark store loopholes, this is truly a pro-local government budget. As for the county, Dane County Executive Joe Parisi said criminal justice reform is one of many issues in this budget that the county shares an interest in addressing, and he's happy Evers wants to raise the age that offenders are considered adults for most crimes.
All right, Amanda Quintana reporting tonight. Amanda, thank you.
Tens of thousands of people around the world and their pet dogs have been reaching out to help a 7-year-old Wisconsin girl who is battling cancer. In late January, Emma Mertens, a first grader from Heartland, was diagnosed with a rare brain tumor. A family friend thought it would be nice to raise the spirits of the little animal lover with a letter from her dog, so she asked her friends to do the same.
It's just really nice to see so many kind people taking time to try to cheer her up.
She's very brave because even doing radiation entails a lot, and it's scary.
Emma's parents say she's been getting about 3,000 emails an hour and a truckload of mail a day. There's more to come on News 3 Now at 5. Up next, Wisconsin is seeing a shortage of referees for high school sports. We'll tell you how it could affect sporting events down the road.
And on Wall Street, the Dow climbing to close the week, some 110 points. The NASDAQ jumps 63. The S&P 500 added 19. And we will be right back. Fan behavior is putting the future of youth sports in Wisconsin in jeopardy.
Every year, many officials quit because of the way they are treated by people in the stands. Jordan Fremstad has more on how it could affect programs in the future.
It's the pageantry. It's a spectacle. A place where a community projects its pride.
I love sports.
Jimmy Poland. Melrose Mindoro is honoring its leaders who dedicated their high school careers representing Mustang excellence on the court. The whole town shows up.
I go to all the games.
Then it's game on. There's one person strolling the baseline who has experienced more than 1,000 games in his career.
I'm in my 4th decade of officiating.
Longtime football and basketball official Jim Dulce.
Spot throw in here.
Has a true love for the game.
It's harder than you think, but it's more rewarding than you can imagine.
Sports sheriffs.
Body foul.
Like Dulce.
White, 3.
Are becoming more difficult to find.
You have to have pretty thick skin.
Still in bonus here. In the state of Wisconsin, we have as many officials over the age of 60 as we do under the age of 60. First horn, let's go.
I still see refs that were there when I played, and there's not a lot of young refs that are coming through the ranks anymore.
Player control foul.
Dulce says the culprit is verbal abuse at games from coaches.
Hey, coach, come on, you got to coach your team.
But it's the behavior in the stands that is the main reason refs are hanging up their whistles.
And it's not just here in our area, but it's across the country. Unfortunately, 80% of all officials, new officials, will quit by the end of their 2nd year.
On February 3rd, parent behavior at a youth wrestling tournament in Kimberly near Appleton hit its ugly peak when parents got into an argument.
Everybody thinks their kid is #1.
We would love to see every athlete get a scholarship, but unfortunately that doesn't happen.
What happened?
Intentional foul was called against Red.
Dulce says schools are forced to cancel and reschedule games multiple times.
Schools were having a difficult time finding people to work them.
That's not the only problem.
And that's one of the things that'll drive not only young officials away from the game, but it'll also drive young athletes away from the game because they see something there that they don't want to be a part of.
Parents are being told to take a step back.
Enjoy the game, because it is just a game.
The game can't go on.
You got it.
If there is no one there to blow the whistle.
Officials are not machines. They're humans, like all of us.
Ready, guys?
In Melrose, Jordan Fremstad, News 3 Now.
If you would like to get involved with officiating, visit WIAAWI.org for more information.
Well, March is here, but has it changed anything? What is it, meteorological spring, right, Gary?
That's what we think. The calendar also says March. The weather is more like that of middle January. We have more snow on the way and then bitter cold temperatures for a couple of days next week. Here comes the snow. The bulk of the heavier snow is up toward the La Crosse area into central Wisconsin. In fact, you can see as we widen out the view here, it's been snowing pretty steadily for much of the day through southern Minnesota, but that area is tracking northeastward. So southern Wisconsin right now just getting a little bit of light snow that'll be pushing through probably over just a couple of hour period, and that should limit the snowfall accumulations here. If you look at visibilities, the lower the visibility, the heavier the snow is coming down. Right now, half-mile visibility and moderate snow in La Crosse and also in Eau Claire and in the Twin Cities. But notice across southern Wisconsin, Madison right now, a 10-mile visibility. If the snow is reaching the ground here, it's just in the form of some flurries. So winter weather advisories are in effect farther to the north, where the snow is a little bit heavier. It might accumulate for a couple of inches, but right now that just includes Juneau and Adams counties as part of our viewing area, north and west of the Dells, and that is in effect until midnight tonight. As far as the expected snowfall, probably this area will get accumulating snow. The amount's closer to 2 to 3 inches out toward La Crosse and the Dells, an inch or less from Madison southward and northern Illinois, just a dusting. And then another weather system later on in the weekend will bring some accumulating snow farther to the south, but that should miss southern Wisconsin, just giving us a few flurries. The cold, though, will not miss us. This is an updated wind chill future track beginning at 7 a.m. Sunday morning. Wind chills, teens and 20s below zero here. By Monday morning, that'll probably be our coldest morning. Wind chills still expected to be right around 30 below zero, maybe some mid-30s below zero in the northern portion of the state. Tuesday morning, wind chills probably between between about 20 and 25 below zero. And even on Wednesday morning, wind chills down into the teens below zero before starting to get back up above zero later in the day on Wednesday as actual air temperatures get above the 20-degree mark. So alert days are in the forecast again for Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. We've been talking about this for the last couple of days for those bitterly cold temperatures as well as the sub-zero wind chills. Live view from the Queen Bee Radio Sky Cam in Platteville. Skies are mostly cloudy there. They've had a few flurries around the WISC Sky Cam. Not showing any flurries here, and I didn't see any in the backyard as a few minutes ago. The Edgewater Sky Cam in downtown Madison just showing mostly cloudy skies. The almanac for today shows our high temperature topped out at 30, the low temperature at 19. That's still below the averages of 36 and 20. And right now we're at 29 degrees with mostly cloudy skies, winds out of the south-southeast at 5 miles per hour. Another big storm system heading for the west coast. This one will take a little more southerly track, and that's what will eventually tug down the colder air to the north. Once this weather system passes, we'll have a little bit of a break, and then another shot of much colder air located just north of Montana will be heading in our direction. So our forecast includes a winter weather advisory until midnight for Juneau and Adams counties and areas to the north and west. Look for a period of light snow and flurries this evening, then that will end later on tonight with a low of 16. For tomorrow, look for a high temperature of 25 with partly sunny skies. Should be quiet during the day. As we check out future track, that light snow mainly this evening into the early morning hours, and then by morning, pretty much over with, lows in the mid-teens, highs tomorrow in the mid-20s. Tomorrow night, we'll see those temperatures start to drop into the single digits. Wind chills could drop to about 10 or 15 below zero, and then high temperatures on Sunday only reaching the middle teens. Might be a flurry or two, especially during the morning hours. As we look at the snowfall amounts, about 1 to 3 inches, but the 2 or 3 inch amounts will be out toward the Dells, about an inch around the Madison area. 10-day forecast, those temperatures staying well below normal through next week. By the end of the weekend, maybe some temperatures closer to the freezing mark, and a chance for some light snow about Sunday of next week. As we take a look at first alert traffic, right now we've seen some delays on the Beltline. There was a report of a stalled vehicle in the westbound lane of the Beltline. You can see this is the view at Park Street. Traffic moving pretty slowly in both directions. Of course, it's a Friday. Right now, eastbound traffic delays start around Monona Drive, go back to west of Verona Road. Westbound delays start around Fish Hatchery, actually around Todd Drive, and go back to around John Nolan Drive. As far as travel times are concerned, right now, almost a half hour on the eastbound Beltline from University Avenue to the interstate, almost 20 minutes going back in the westbound direction, heading out of Madison. Full 26 minutes down to Janesville on I-3990 from the Beltline, 17 minutes to Sauk City on US 12, and 17 minutes to Sun Prairie on US 151. That is your first alert traffic.
All right, Gary, thank you. And there's more to come on News 3 Now at 5. President Trump talking about the testimony of his former attorney, Michael Cohen. Tell you what he's saying about it after a short break. President Trump says he took time during his trip to Vietnam to watch Michael Cohen's testimony on Capitol Hill this week.
The president is calling Cohen discredited, said he committed perjury. He also called his congressional hearing this week fake testimony. President Trump appeared on Fox News with Sean Hannity last night. They refuted Cohen's testimony that the president authorized hush money payments to two women who claimed to have affairs with Mr. Trump.
He said to me at least a dozen times that he made the decision on the payments and he didn't tell you.
Yeah.
Told me personally.
No, he did, and he made the decision. And remember this, he's an attorney. Whatever decision he makes, you're supposed to rely on an attorney to make a decision.
The House Intelligence Committee hopes to grill the Trump Organization's chief financial officer, Alan Weisselberg, about his alleged involvement in hush money payments. And they plan to interview former Trump associate Felix Sater about the Trump Tower Moscow project that Cohen was involved with.
Washington Governor Jay Inslee, the latest Democrat to announce a 2020 presidential bid, putting the number now at 11 candidates.
I'm a candidate to become the next president of the United States.
With climate change as his one central issue, Governor Inslee launched his bid this afternoon from a solar insulation company in Seattle. Inslee joins the growing Democratic field. He's not the only one talking climate, though. The aggressive Green New Deal proposed by New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has become a 2020 litmus test of sorts for presidential hopefuls, with several Democratic candidates already backing it.
I will make fighting climate change the #1 priority of the United States of America.
A recent Pew poll, however, shows most Americans rank climate change low on their list of priorities. Governor Inslee is also launching a multi-state climate mission tour starting in Iowa next week. And we'll have another check of your forecast in just a moment. Stay with us.
Well, there's Doppler tracks, snow moving into southern Wisconsin right now. Heaviest snow out toward La Crosse. They're reporting a quarter-mile visibility and a burst of heavy snow, but elsewhere visibility is generally at or above 5 miles, at least in the northwestern parts of our viewing area, where there's a winter weather advisory in effect until midnight up toward the Dells. About 1 to 3 inches of snow overnight.
And we're back in 30 minutes. Stay tuned for the CBS Evening News.